This is me, this is us, and fear, insecurities, joy, happiness, disaster, order, rebellion, lack of compromise. I'm a teenager that feels the insecurities of a world that is changing and moving constantly, that feels alone and has nowhere to go. I'm also the rebellion, the weird guy that paints his nails in order to prove that everyone can be whoever they want. And this is true, we can be however we want. Hate arrives to my head and makes everything feel wrong. All those guys trying to prove a point by painting their nails, or even worse, the ones which use skirt. This comes from a point of perspective where I feel alone, where I cannot find myself, and therefore the best option is to make everyone else than I am. The shield is a great protection, and I feel comfortable behind it. Maybe I'm creating some ideals in my head, but it's scary to think what may others say to me. Criticizing is both an act of choice and conviction. You may be able to criticize, and your actions should be cautious enough so anyone else can say anything or give a point of view about me. The social media is my best friend and at the same time, my biggest enemy. Hours and hours just scrolling in the hope of finding something that really makes me feel better. Probably after a while, I'll find something cool or of my real interest, but the road to achieve this is something painful. Everyone is showing their perfect lives. Doesn't matter if they're full of hate or wanting a rebellion, having a disaster going through their mind. You have to be okay for everyone. It is very difficult to live in a society where everyone is constantly asking us to be always better than the day before, where we need to get responsible as fast as possible and in the most mature way. I'm from Mexico, our country where freedom in our age is just impossible to achieve. As a teenager, we're going through hell inside our minds. Yes, from the outside, our way of living may seem the coolest, and we're thankful for the opportunities we get, but that doesn't mean that we cannot suffer. The suffering is not material, it's a social way of suffering, where men should be macho and women princess. Talking about this in the 2020 just feels wrong. And even though we're so privileged, we still have to go through this every single day. The people that are able to break the circle end up suffering, and the road to achieve this is again, as in most of the things that we really enjoy, painful. I want the best for my future, an uncertain, difficult, not very clear future. Freedom and security, two things that just seem impossible to achieve if we want them to be together. There is a change coming. I don't know when, how, and what kind of change is going to come, but it will, and sooner than we think. The most difficult step has already been taken, and is admitting our problems. Admitting that during our teenage years, we have to go through stuff in modern world that seems to make it more difficult than it already was truly find ourselves. I'm still scared about how difficult it may be for this change to come. But as what I'm about what I believe and defend, and I want there and I make a difference, there are the words from a teenager.